Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Day 4, final day of the Shanghai bike show today. Bit of a funny one, everything wraps up by about midday, so I'm gonna rush around this morning, see what I can kind of capture. I'll tell you what, it's been absolutely knackering doing 4 days on the show. So much fun. But yeah, this really takes it out of you. Anyway, on the way in, there's a group set manufacturer I want to check out, SRAM. They've been on a couple of booths in the show, but it looks like they do some quite good value mechanical group sets. So let's go and check them out. Right, this group set immediately caught my eye. It's a road group set, so we're looking at a 2x12 variant. Apparently it's all Shimano compatible, and it's their R620. Right, so it functions in the same way to Shimano, I guess. So push the full brake lever to downshift at the back, like so, and then paddle to upshift. Nice and smooth. You'd expect that on the kind of a trade show floor, right? But yeah, from what I've been playing around with, seems pretty nice. So nice smooth shifting, and the maximum cassette size on this, it goes up to 34 on the back. So yeah, that's pretty good as well. Shifting at the front seems equally smooth. So yeah, again, exactly the same as Shimano. Nice upshift, and then click, boom. So a couple of trim positions in there as well. I'd be really excited to get my hands on this group set. They couldn't give me a price because they're dealing with like OEM suppliers, right? But hopefully I can get my hands on a set. I imagine it's relatively well priced, but I'll do some, I'll chat to the people here, see if I can get a sample and report back. But yeah, so far, pretty impressive. So hopefully the price is right. Hydraulic brake caliper here. Looks pretty nice. I had to play around. Obviously, there's very little torque on this motor, but yeah, brakes seem nice and snappy. Again, I'm obviously gonna have to test it on the bike to be sure, but yeah, this does seem promising. Yeah, just kind of checking it over in a bit more detail. It's a kind of full aluminium construction, so I'm not sure the weight's gonna be. It's not gonna be particularly lightweight, but should be pretty robust. So yeah, this is an aluminium pulley cage on there. This is all cast aluminium, and so is this part on the front derailleur. So yeah, I guess weight's not going to be like incredibly light, but it should be pretty robust at least. So they got they've got it in the retail box here. Yeah, it looks pretty tidy. So yeah, I was having a play around with the actual shifters. The quality seems good. So you got aluminium brake lever on the front. The plastics seem nice quality, and the rubber feels good as well. Obviously, I'm not entirely sure about ergonomics. I'm gonna have to try them on the bike, but at least from kind of first inspection, it does seem pretty decent. So yeah, everything does seem pretty promising with this group set. So I've just spotted this. They've got a gravel version of this group set as well. So this is a 1x13 actually. So 13-speed cassette on the back, which is pretty cool. The design seems very similar to the road, maybe slightly chunkier, not entirely sure, but yeah, exactly the same design language. The rear derailleur, obviously a lot more chunky there, a bit more robust, and yeah, they've got a little clutch mechanism in there as well to stop chain slap. So yeah, playing around with the shifting, all seems to go really nicely, nice and tactile. There is just, I do really like mechanical shifting, especially when it's nicely set up like this on the booth. It's just all nice and smooth. And if I go all the way up into the larger sprocket, yeah, absolutely no issues. I mean, it's obviously set up perfectly because it's on a booth, but still pretty impressive stuff, it has to be said. Again, I'm not entirely sure of the kind of end cost for you and me to get something like this, but I would hope it's relatively good value. Again, I'll try and get a sample when it's available. Allegedly, they don't have a massive footprint in Europe. I imagine this is focused on Chinese domestic market, right? But yeah, still pretty cool to see. Yeah, honestly, I'm quite impressed with the shifting. So like setups like this, they're gonna get abused on the shop floor. It's day 4 here. But yeah, honestly, flawless shifting. I mean, I assume they take some time to kind of make sure it's all tuned up before they get the members of the public in here, but yeah, still pretty impressive. So yeah, group sets like this really kind of intrigue me. Hopefully the price is right. Functionality seems good, and the quality of the kind of components seems pretty high. So I'll try and get hold of a set. Maybe you can get them on AliExpress or potentially from another vendor, but yeah, SRAM, definitely worth checking out, that's for sure. I spotted these mean looking wheels from across the show, MVMT, not a brand I can say I'm particularly familiar with, but absolutely wild looking. The kind of width of these carbon spokes is just crazy. They must be around a centimeter wide. Yeah, definitely the widest carbon spokes I've ever seen. And the way they're kind of, well, the construction of the wheel is, yeah, quite interesting as well. So the two sides of the spokes are kind of one piece, if you see what I mean. So if you were to, say, break one of these spokes, it's not that you can replace an individual one, because you can see it's bonded into this kind of a central piece here. So you can replace one side or the other, but I assume the stiffness of these wheels is absolutely off the charts. The weight on these things seems pretty impressive. So these are 50 mil deep, and from having a look, it looks like a pair is 1,220 grams, and the cost is yeah, 13,000 RMB, and I think that equates to 1,700 bucks. So not exactly cheap, but for kind of a really interesting construction technique on the kind of spokes here. Doesn't seem bonkers for the money, honestly. In fact, having a look at some of the other kind of carbon gear they've got on offer here, I'd spotted this saddle. So this thing is bonkers. So 65 grams for this thing, which is, yeah, absolutely nuts. But this is the saddle that Joe rides on his personal bike. I actually showed this on day one of the show. So yeah, clearly it's quite an established brand. Like I said, I'm not particularly familiar with it, but yeah, some of the stuff they've got is pretty tasty looking. So yeah, maybe I can get hold of a set of these wheels, who knows, because they are really tasty. Right, so I just popped into the MicroShift booth. I was quite keen to check out their Sword group set. It's been out for a little while, but I've not had a chance to kind of get my hands on it. So it's a 10-speed group set, fully mechanical. So they had yeah, a mechanical disc brake calipers with the bike on the stand, and I was having a play around with the shifting. So it was one by, they had an 11 to 46 10-speed cassette on the back, and I mean, shifting was okay. It honestly felt quite agricultural, actually. The S-Ride, their booth, the shifting on there seemed much smoother. Maybe they tuned the kind of display model a little bit better, but yeah, the Sword did feel slightly clunky. I know, yeah, another YouTube channel, Path Less Pedaled, I believe he really rates the MicroShift Sword, but I wasn't super impressed. I think people really like the ergonomics of the shifters, and maybe I should kind of ride it before I judge too quickly, but I wasn't particularly impressed. Maybe out on the trail or whatever, when you've got it on a gravel bike, it performs much better. So yeah, if you yourself have used it, yeah, leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Maybe I'm kind of being too harsh on this one. So I was just walking past and spotted this, Elilee. They do some cranksets. I was at Cybre yesterday, and these guys have got a carbon spindled crankset as well. I couldn't really get a cost, but yeah, I want to quickly show you because it's quite interesting. So it's listed as 285 grams for the crankset. Certainly looks nice. Yeah, I like this design, the kind of hollow nature of the axle there. But yeah, they've got the carbon spindle there bonded to an aluminium plug, which will sit into the other side of the crankset. So yeah, I'll do a little bit more research on this company, Elilee, and yeah, and see if I can get some more details on this. But it does look pretty interesting, and it's certainly lightweight. Hi. So I'm here in Xiamen, actually. I came here after the show in Shanghai with Joe and his team. The Panda Podium officers are back there, so I'm in the belly of the beast, sort of editing this episode together. Yeah, so this company, Elilee, I had kind of look them up. Quite a small company. They've got a few offerings. They've got a frame set. They've got a kind of integrated handlebar, a couple of wheel sets. But this particular crankset, it's called the X90 crankset, and it comes with, well, you can get it with an SRAM power meter or an XKD power meter, which is yeah, a little bit cheaper. But for just the bare crankset, no chain rings or anything, 750 bucks. So pretty similar pricing to Cybre. So I guess, yeah, take your pick. Anyway, hope you found that useful, and yeah, back to it. Right, so yeah, hopefully you can see that it's like 25 past 10, so early doors really, but they're already sort of packing up. People are kind of starting to pack away their stands. So yeah, I've got to crack on. Clearly not much time left to cover the rest of the show. Right, at the YBN booth, this manufacturer, this chain manufacturer, I really rate. I've had good experiences with them. They're durable and they're quite reasonably priced compared to kind of the top end offerings in terms of chains from the likes of SRAM and Shimano. Plus, they got some really funky color options on display. Yellow, red and gray, blue, white and red, kind of an Italian flag and a multicolored one. They got some really cool ones over here as well. If I just jump over, yeah, check out that one. A complete like rainbow colorway on there. Same with this, like, Yeah, the pins on there, different colors. So if you've got a bike and you kind of want to color match the chain, I think YBN is the go-to. So yeah, a guy called Nick came up to me while I was doing a bit of filming at YBN, gave me some free swag, got a green 12-speed chain, which is cool. Yeah, lovely bloke. Apparently they also do, I'll throw up some footage, they're making some flat top chains for Shimano and SRAM as well. They didn't have them on display, but presumably you'll be able to buy them soon as well. But yeah, really rate YBN and got some free swag, so win-win. Right, just came across another brand that I'm familiar with, one called Onirii. So I've had a look at their pedals before. They were these carbon composite, fully carbon composite pedals with titanium axles. They had a set on the stand, so I'll throw in some B-roll. But yeah, really lightweight, really nice to use as well, and incredibly cheap. I think if memory serves, they cost me 40 quid on AliExpress, something like that, and they were incredibly lightweight. And interestingly, much like some of the other brands that I've showed during this kind of coverage, they do more stuff than you would initially kind of realize. Specifically, some really nice looking carbon road bike frames. There was one that was like a black and gold mottled called the Aero Pro, really sleek looking, and they had another few frames on the booth as well. So I mean, if the price of those pedals is anything to go by, they should be pretty good value. Unfortunately, couldn't get any pricing, but maybe we'll see them crop up on AliExpress. So yeah, if I can get hold of one, maybe that's worth a look too. I've never seen so many spokes crammed into a wheel like that. Yeah, pretty cool looking though. Right, very quickly, Rufon, again, a brand I'd never heard of, but they do have some interesting bikes. Let me quickly show you. So they have this one on the scales here. I'll try and give you a better shot. So yeah, quite a nice looking bike, right? The frame does look lovely. And the weight on this thing, 6.17 kilos. Obviously pretty tricked out. Got some nice carbon cranks there, full Dura Ace group set, and a pretty lightweight cassette on there too with some lovely looking wheels. But yeah, not too bad, 6.2 kilos for an aero frame like this. And yeah, straight to business, I was instantly asking about cost, and apparently for this frame right here, it's about 1,200 bucks. I mean, what that looks like after import duties and where it's going to be available, I'm not entirely sure, but they certainly are nice looking frames. So yeah, maybe we'll see these crop up on AliExpress, who knows? So that price includes this, yeah, pretty tasty looking frame, nice paint job. You get the seat post, forks obviously, and yeah, you get this nice integrated bar as well. They got a couple of other ones on the back of the booth here. So they've got a range of bikes. Most of these are kind of aero machines as well, but it looks like they've got some kind of endurance style frames as well. Yeah, seemingly pretty good value. So if these crop up on AliExpress and the like, yeah, I think they might be worth a look. This one's sporting the new QED group set from Machine as well, which is, yeah, pretty cool. So here's what it's kind of gonna look like on the bike. Yeah, certainly very reminiscent of, yeah, Ultegra, right? Especially this front derailleur. But I'm just admiring these paint jobs. This is a lovely colorway. I really like this kind of purple to red gradient. And this one's pretty banging as well. Look at that, red, pink, orange, yellow. Yeah, honestly, some lovely looking bikes. I mean, who knows what they ride like, but certainly the paint and the finish, really premium. Right, another weigh-in in progress for this more endurance looking frame. Let's see what this comes at. 5.7 on that. I mean, we've seen some impressive weights at the show, but yeah, this is pretty good as well. Let's have a quick look at the kind of componentry. We've got Shimano Ultegra on here. I think that's a Sunshine cassette, monoblock. So yeah, relatively standard components in a lot of ways, and 5.7 kilos, not half bad. Again, I was asking about price, apparently exactly the same, so just over 1,200 bucks again for frame, seat post, and this really nice looking integrated carbon stem. I quite like the clamping system they've got, slightly different to ones we normally see, so should be a little bit more bulletproof in that regard. But yeah, Rufon, really glad I popped in. These guys do look pretty interesting. Right, so obviously, yeah, pretty interested in the individual weight of the frame, right? So this is a medium. They've got, it'd probably be an Asian medium, so maybe slightly smaller than kind of a European, but 695 grams. So yeah, pretty freaking lightweight as well. It's difficult to show, but finishing inside looks nice. Obviously it's a kind of display model, so it's gonna be really squared away. BSA bottom bracket, which is great to see. But yeah, let's have a quick look in there. yeah, nice and clean in the head tube, but you kind of expect that with a display model. But yeah, all in all, impressive stuff at the Rufon booth. Yeah, sorry this is a kind of bit stop-start at this booth, but they keep bringing out really interesting stuff to show me. So yeah, you can see, well, again, the inside does look very clean. Apparently it's EPS molding used for the entirety of the frame, which is pretty cool. But yeah, nice and clean on the inside, so great to see. So yeah, that was quite funny. They just kind of kept bringing stuff out. It was really interesting though. They're very passionate about their kind of products. They're selling stuff right at the show, but yeah, that was quite cool. Really nice frames though. Yeah, I mean, the price is $1,200 for those. I'll need to double check and whether that, you know, relates to UK pricing as well, whether they even sell outside of China, I don't know. But if I can get my hands on one of those, yeah, the quality did seem really good. Full EPS molding on those frames, nice and smooth. And that handlebar looked really sick as well. So yeah, interesting proposition. Finally, well, I'm squeezing it in on the last day of the show. Got a couple of hours left to see, well, about an hour left actually. So I'll see if I can find something else interesting, fingers crossed. So yeah, very quickly walking past the SRAM booth. They got the new SRAM Red. Yeah, it's the first time I've kind of seen it in the flesh. It is really a really good looking group set. I really like the design of that, yeah, rear derailleur, kind of a direct mount on there, so nice and robust. There's all those videos of them stamping on the rear derailleur, right? And ergonomics, I can't lie, they do feel exceptionally nice. Shane raves about the kind of feel of these levers, and I can see what he's talking about. They certainly do feel lovely. A little bit outside of my price bracket, honestly. Maybe one day I'll treat myself to yeah, one of these group sets, because yeah, certainly very, very lovely. Okay, so forgive the interruption and kind of forgive the mess. I'm still here in Xiamen, and this is my hotel room. I'm just finishing off the edit for this episode, right? And I've realized there's a clip that I've deleted off the camera. I don't know where it's gone, but when I was about to leave the SRAM booth, it was at that point that I realized just how similar this SRAM Red offering is to that Senteyh 14-speed group set that I looked at a few days prior. So not only are the shifter hoods and the brake levers so similar in design, but I remember at the Senteyh booth, I picked up the caliper, the brake caliper, and I was like, oh wow, that's cool because they've skeletonized it. And then I look at the SRAM Red caliper and I'm like, oh wow, that's nearly the same. I mean, they're not identical, but it's clear that, well, at least in my opinion, that Senteyh have taken some pretty heavy inspiration for this group set from the SRAM Red offering. Just the depth of similarity is quite deep. Let's just say that much. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you think and let's crack on. Right, I just dropped by the Seka booth and they've got a frame on display that I've not actually seen before. So I'm familiar with the Seka Spear, and I'll show you that again in a second. But they've also got a new one. Well, I'm not sure if it's new, but I've certainly not seen it before. The Seka Exceed. So this is their flagship frame at the minute. It's the Seka Spear. Like I said, I've covered this before. Some of you might recognize it. It's got this quite definitive kind of design on the seat stays here. They call their wind eye. Obviously has some aero benefits, and I think they put all the kind of aero stats online for you to nerd through if you like. But yeah, really lovely looking frame. Comes in 2 variants, and let me quickly get the weights for you. So their standard frame, it's yeah, what are we looking at? 775 grams for a medium. So yeah, pretty reasonable there. But they've got their RDC variant. So the RDC, yeah, they use a slightly different carbon layup, 6 types of carbon weave apparently, rather than 3 on the standard. And that comes in at 685 grams for a medium frame. So yeah, that is pretty flippin' lightweight. The standard Seka Spear, this one visually looks no different, exactly the same from the outside, but yeah, slightly cheaper and slightly heavier. But yeah, let's have a look at this Exceed frame here. It caught my eye because it's a slightly more kind of traditional design, right? This is apparently a generation or 2 old, so yeah, the Spear is their flagship. This is an older variant. It's a kind of more traditional aero machine, and again it comes in 2 variants, the standard and the RDC. So let me get those specs out for you. So the standard is €2,100 and the weight on that is 953 grams for a medium frame unpainted. So yeah, a pretty decent weight on that one. Like I said, it's a slightly more traditional aero machine, so slightly chunkier down tubes and some nice bladed seat stays there. But again, they do an RDC variant, which comes in at 775 grams for a medium frame, and that's a little more expensive at €2,600. I'm not sure which one I prefer, honestly. The Seka Spear does have some really funky colorways. I got some B-roll of that, but there is something about a more traditional aero frame with a flatter top tube that I do really like. But yeah, regardless, some interesting stuff from Seka. Again, slightly more premium than the stuff I usually look at, but by all accounts, these bikes are fantastic. Again, I've got the details of the guy, so maybe we'll see a Seka bike on the channel in the future, who knows? Right then, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up here in Shanghai for the Shanghai Bike Show 2025. What an absolutely wild experience it has been, and thank you for like coming along with me while I muddle my way through this media coverage of the show. I've really tried my best to hit as many booths as possible and give you guys a really good flavour of the bike market over here in Shanghai. So I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, thank you for watching. Massive thank you to Joe and the Panda Podium team. They've been like exceptional in every single regard. I mean, we've stayed in the same hotel, we talk to each other hours every day. Yeah, they're really lovely. And Shane, GP Llama as well, first time I've met him, absolutely stand-up bloke, knows so much. His like depth of knowledge on all things cycle tech, it just beggars belief. So yeah, go and check out his coverage as well. I am utterly exhausted. I wasn't quite prepared for like 4 days on the trot of doing these trade shows. Shane tried to warn me when I met him when I got off the plane, but I was not prepared. It has been bonkers, but absolutely, like I've loved every minute. I can't wait to come back next year. Hopefully Joe will have me and I haven't stuffed it up and the relationship too bad. No, I'm joking. But yeah, maybe I'll be at Eurobike as well. We'll see. Yeah, absolutely wild. So yeah, thank you for watching. And I'm gonna go back, have some lunch, and hopefully get some rest. So yeah, thanks again, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.